Vice President Kamala Harris spoke with Black business owners and entrepreneurs in Atlanta Monday, launching the nationwide Economic Opportunity Tour. The Biden campaign wants to gain some ground with Black voters. CBS News polling shows support for the current administration has dipped a bit among the key demographics since 2020. So joining me now to talk a little bit more about this and other issues in this election cycle is Nevada Congressman Steven Horsford. He is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and he was in Georgia with the vice president yesterday. Thank you so much for joining us. So you heard the CBS News polling, and you're familiar with the polling. To be sure, President Biden enjoys significant support within the African-American community, but there has been some softening in the numbers. Why do you think there are some members of the community who are not so sure about President Biden?
Well, first, it's great to be with you. And you are absolutely right that this is an important time for all of America, but particularly Black America when it comes to our economic opportunities. And that is why I was so pleased to join forces with Vice President Harris for the kickoff of this Economic Opportunities Tour, to have a direct conversation with the American people. This is the first in a series of conversations that she's leading, but along with members of the Congressional Black Caucus who have offered and who are working to advance an agenda that would actually help build Black wealth in America. You know, we can talk about polls all day long, but what people really want us to talk about is reducing the cost of rent. They want us to focus on addressing the disparities in home ownership. They want to know, where are the opportunities to access capital for my small business so that I can not only survive, but thrive, helping to create jobs in our community. They want to know what we're going to do to address tax fairness and equity so that small businesses, Black small businesses, are not penalized to the benefit of big corporations and billionaires. These are the choices. And yes, polls may say one thing today, but I know the record of the Biden-Harris administration. I know the work that we've done as Democrats in Congress by putting people over politics. And I know that in the end of this, the American people will elect decency over chaos. They will focus on their own interest and not the interest of Donald Trump or MAGA Republicans. And
in fact, what the vice president talked a lot about in Atlanta were the various programs and things the administration has done to support African-American small businesses. You know, she is the first woman of color, first Black woman to be the vice president. Do you think the administration has used her effectively?
Yes. And beyond using, because she's a leader in her own right, she has led on so many important issues. Look, we have a choice between one side that is literally taking away fundamental rights and freedoms and opportunity for women, for students to pursue education, for businesses to have access to capital. The same forces who were behind the effort to dismantle these freedoms and rights and opportunity, they were stacked by the Supreme Court that was appointed by justices who were appointed by Donald Trump. Or we have the choice of those like President Biden and Vice President Harris, who are trying to expand and protect our freedoms, our rights, and our opportunities. And Vice President Harris is uniquely qualified, not only as the Vice President of the United States, but as a former United States Senator, former Attorney General, and someone who understands the challenges that all Americans, but again, particularly Black Americans, face in this unique time.
And really quickly, before we let you go, you represent Nevada. It's expected to be a highly competitive swing state during this election. Of course, Biden overwhelmingly won the state's primary, but there was like sort of a small percentage of people who wrote in, you know, none of the candidates. Are you concerned at all? And you've seen some of the polls about just a lack of voter enthusiasm for both candidates. Are you concerned about that this election just does not excite people?
You know, I'm in my district constantly listening to voters, and what they tell me is, look, I'm going to vote my interest, not the interest of the powerful or special interest. They want people who are elected who are going to make sure that they are laser focused on reducing cost, on making our community safer, on creating more opportunity. And that's what Vice President Harris and this tour on economic opportunities is all about. It's about making sure that people know how to access all of the historic legislation that we've passed, and more importantly, how to center the people in the policy that we are advancing on their behalf. So I'm excited about the upcoming election, and I know that every single voter understands their power in having their voice heard at the ballot box this November.
Congressman Steven Horsford, thank you so much.